All right. Well then, yeah. So I guess this is gonna be the first of how. Do we know how many episodes it's gonna
No,
be?
I want to say
it's probably gonna
10,
be
but
10, just like WandaVision.
I want to
Okay.
9,
Well, let's
but
just
I think this
assume.
will be 10. I don't know.
I guess we'll find out. But yeah. I guess we'll be doing this for as often as we can, or maybe not. I don't like. I mean, I'm always down to watch it. Night
Yeah,
of.
big same.
Like as soon as it launches. But if sometimes it doesn't happen that way, then we'll just like save the talk for like the next day or whatever. But yeah, okay. So I'm gonna record this, and I'll be posting this probably. I mean, I'm just gonna make a highlight, and then maybe I'll post it on YouTube or something. But if we can go in order from left to right, actual early stream. What's up, Sarah? If we can go left to right, left icon is me. I'm Vash. Middle one, go ahead, Broly.
What's up, guys?
Middle one, all right.
He's,
Let me introduce him while I say who he is.
I mean, yeah, middle one. What's your name? Go ahead.
Wait.
Well, it's because I didn't want to say middle one, and then Broly's like, "Wait, I don't have Discord up. I don't know who's middle."
I'm Broly.
I was.
Hi, guys. How's everyone doing?
And I'm
And then
Goss. What's up?
So yeah, we just got finished watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 1, and I guess we'll go down the list starting from the right to me. So Goss, you can go first. What was your overall thoughts on the episode?
It was cool. I guess I'm kind of like the thing that I have a problem with is that like I'm still kind of like in the honeymoon phase from like WandaVision, right? So like I'm expecting like some like crazy shit, but I guess also like in WandaVision it kind of started off pretty slow as well. So like it's not like deterring me from the show at all, but it's still very like I wish more had happened. I guess like one of the things that I guess we'll get into it later, right? Because we're gonna go like beat by beat, but like there are a couple of things that I wish had happened in this episode at least. The overall flow of the episode seems very I wouldn't say all over the place, but I kind of sort of like the pacing. I wish that okay, I really want to talk about this like one scene real quick, and it's like the early on in the episode where the Falcon is fighting all the fucking people in the sky. Like, okay, dude, like I think that was just a little bit over excessive. Like, how the hell are these people like flying through rocks? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, these people.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely just felt like Marvel was like, "Hey, here's money, like we need to start off strong, so go ahead and start off strong."
Yeah, like that whole scene with him like doing the air battle was cool, but like to me, those people in those like black suits, they're just like regular people. Like, I mean, I guess they're like secret agents or whatever, or whoever they're fighting or they were fighting. But like, you're telling me like a whole group of like these dudes just knew how to like traverse through like canyons and like giant rock holes, and like, I was like, dude, the Falcon literally just fought like Thanos' army. Like, why is he having like such a hard time with like dudes in like like wind suits? Like, it kind of felt a little weird to me. It felt like okay, like you obviously have seen Falcon put in work in the Marvel movies prior, so like seeing him kind of like I wouldn't say struggle, it just looked like he
I mean, I feel like you can kind of fit into the narrative. He was gone for 5 years, but I mean, to them, it didn't feel like 5 years. It's just for them, it was like a second. But you can kind of put it into the like, it's like in that scene in Ant-Man. I think it's Ant-Man and the Wasp, where he's having trouble with a new opponent, I guess, and so. I think definitely it was a way over the top, the beginning segment of the show
yeah.
where he's like, they're doing barrels, they're doing freaking flips and
they were able to fly up against to the fucking with that scene where like that one dude flew right up against the helicopter and just like barrel rolled inside the helicopter. I was like, what the fuck?
well, that's where I was like, all right, chill the fuck
like,
out,
chill
because
out,
I'm glad. I mean, it was the George St. Pierre's character, but he was the one that flew. He like those like squirrel suits. He flew out of one helicopter with the guy strapped to him, and then managed to get to the next helicopter while the first one blew up from a rocket. But I mean, okay, so we can go into all that in a bit. But overall, what did you think about the time? The whole episode was like 45 minutes, or almost like 50.
I like that, and I was actually surprised when I opened the episode. I really expected like 30 minutes from that. Like I was like, oh, it again, like it's, I guess I have like I need to start recognizing that these like TV miniseries are all going to be vastly different from each other, and I guess that does also include like the runtime, how like the pacing of the episode is going to go, right? Because it's two different complete themes altogether. With WandaVision and stuff, it's a little bit more like metaphysical, right? It's more about like powers and like mind, like psionic abilities and all this stuff, where more like Winter Soldier and Falcon is going to be a lot more like action packed. It's going to be a lot more like hands-on action instead of like battle of the minds or like the powers or whatever. So like I just need to understand that, like, just like because they have that separation from each other, that like things like runtime, things like the pacing of the show, things like the amount of action that's going to be in the show, because like it's like we were talking about right now, like the over the top like scene in the beginning of the show was kind of like, I was like, whoa, wait a minute, like hold on, like I'm not used to like slow down. Like we.
All right, what about Brawley? What about you? How do you feel about overall thoughts? I mean, we can save our like full like I guess rating and just what we think is going to happen next towards the end of the talk. But just as the episode as a whole, what do you feel? How are you feeling?
Oh, I liked it. It was a good first story, first episode. I know what was expected. I didn't want to keep my expectations too high. Obviously, start. Just kind of wanted to see a lot of the world building going on, how it's gonna translate. Like a lot of these shows are being told right after the blip. Like that's kind of like the story point, like right after Endgame. Okay, what happens to this character? What happens to this character? And so so I kind of know that it's gonna be very slow burn, and it's gonna be chilled, and we're gonna just follow along with these characters and what they do. But yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. I thought it was fun. Very interested in these characters. I will say that not to go too much and not to put in my thoughts about like an opinion of the show till later, but I will say that like it is going to be a very big change from having these superheroes that have omega level powers versus people that are pretty much normal. Pretty much their main weapon is gun or physical ability that are not even like it's crazy because Captain Winter Soldier has Bucky has super serum in him, or super soldier serum in him, and he's supposed to be as strong as Captain America, but
kinda he has like the not as potent Hydra version,
and so like you can tell like these characters are not up to snuff with what we saw like in WandaVision, or if you want to look forward to in Loki. So it is something that people are gonna have to be able to check themselves and say, okay, this is gonna be like a different setting. But overall, my first impression of the episode was really good. Loved the beginning of it for sure, and yeah, I was pretty good with it.
Cool. Yeah, for me personally, I think I really like the episode because if the way what I was thinking about, like maybe 20 minutes in, or like even 10 minutes in, I guess after the segment where they put the shield away, I was just thinking like, okay, if people can get through episodes 1 and 2 of WandaVision, and how like that episode 1 and 2 literally was 90%. Here we're reenacting old TV shows, and then a small 10% of, oh, what, there's something tricky's going on around here. And so a lot of people had, that was their biggest complaint. They were like, oh, the 2 episodes of WandaVision were so like boring and nothing happened, and it was just sitcom stuff. So I wasn't engaged. This one starts off strong. This one has really good themes with, you know, Falcon and his family. We got Bucky with the little book of what he's trying to make amends of the things that he's done in the past. I feel like they kind of hit the ground running, but also what I loved about this is just the overall feeling of we're starting up the character building. Like, this is where the characters are. The world has continued, even though they got blipped out, and now they're back in. How are they going to mesh in this world? And I like. So runtime was great. I really liked that the episode was like 45 minutes or something. It really felt like, you know, a good chunk. And something that I don't know what it is about these like WandaVision and now this show, but just the way they capture the lighting and the scenery, and just the way they capture the characters, it feels like I'm watching like a snippet. Like if I go to YouTube and type in like, you know, oh, court scene of Iron Man 2, like it feels like I'm watching that. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys get the same feeling, but it feels like I'm watching a Marvel movie, but you know, here's a little piece of it. Like here's a small little bite of a whole movie. And because WandaVision could be treated as that. If you watched, if they announced, hey, here is Wanda Maximoff movie, and we're gonna call it WandaVision, and if they gave you the entire 9 episodes, and they called it a movie, you went to theaters, like it could be treated as a movie.
It could be, yeah.
And because it's the same quality, it's the same kind of like just attention to detail that Marvel does in all the movies. And so I felt like this was just the beginnings of the movie, and they're building up. It was like a perfect build up. It was like just enough action to be like, all right, they're still at it. We had the little flashback with Bucky when he was still the Winter Soldier and he was still under Hydra's control. We had that moment at the beginning, and then we also have the moment where he's in modern time doing the same thing. And but yeah, overall, I think it was a solid start. Obviously nothing too crazy, but they got a lot done. We got the problems that the 2 characters are facing. We've got even more problems that they know that they're probably going to be facing later. And then we also got basically a bad guy villain group that was revealed already. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we got all of that stuff in the first episode, and it still feels like they didn't give us much. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy. So I feel like they did a really good job. I really enjoyed the episode. It's a solid start. And besides that, I guess we can go into so beat by beat. The first thing I can remember is honestly just Falcon and having that whole exchange. So the whole goal was he was trying to recapture, I guess, obtain like a hostage.
Yeah, they called him captain.
Yeah, so Falcon was trying to get this done, and he was trying to rescue this guy. How do we feel about just how do we feel how the sequence was handled? Do you guys think that it was enjoyable popcorn fodder enough to just sit back and get nestled into the show, or do you think it was just a little too extra? What do you guys think? We can start with Brawley.
I thought it was really good. I think I caught myself saying like, oh, this is pretty impressive, like a couple times. The flying around really showed off, Falcon's. I mean, you got to show off Falcon's ability, and then one of the best ways to do it, let him do a lot of the aerial combat. Showed him using Red Wing. Showed him, pulling out his wings to block combat, like a gunfire. I know, like what you guys mentioned earlier, or I think Goss mentioned earlier, how it's kind of like you go from WandaVision where they're fighting all these wizards and stuff like that, these kind of things, and then you come back to Sam, fighting these guys, and how is he like struggling when he fought against Thanos' army. I will say that like one, Thanos' army is kind of like they're just kind of like beasts. They're just kind of like, yeah, they're big aliens, but they didn't really have like guns. They didn't really have anything like that. They weren't really smart either. They were just kind of fodder, and so he's just kind of like in the air bombing. That's pretty much what was the role in a lot of the fights in Endgame and Infinity War as well. And so in these guys, like, oh, why is he having a lot of trouble? Well, these guys are kind of like they're using tech. They're using, like guns and stuff. They're more close combat. If you guys remember, George St. Pierre was the villain, or like the first villain they fight in Winter Soldier, which is a good callback because we're dealing with Bucky and that. And Captain America kind of had trouble. Like he didn't really have a lot of trouble, but he had a little bit of trouble. So it's kind of like we're gonna have this villain that Captain America fought. Now let's have this villain that Sam is gonna fight, and let's see if he could do the same thing. Because there's a lot of callbacks. There's a lot of Captain can do this, Sam did, and he doesn't really get the job. Like he does defeat them. He does walk away with the mission being complete. He does capture the guy or recapture the captain, but it's not like he defeats George Xavier. He still gets to escape.
Yeah, I mean, out of this whole crew, JSP was the last one.
Yeah, he was
like,
able to.
He jumped out the last second and was able to. I guess he just went back to his country, like the border lines was just there. So
the whole thing was they had to get him before they crossed the border, and they were able to. Sam was able.
I will say like that like it was like you have to get them, or we might have to do this another time. It's not like the planes were at the ready at that exact spot. You know what I mean? Like if they crossed it just for a little moment, they'd probably detect them, but then be like, okay, let's send some people out there. So I think that like it was that high intensity stuff. But I will say like I agree. I think while it was obviously you can't have Falcon just go in and mollywop these guys in 2 seconds because I'm sure they want to use JSP for later in the show. But I mean, he had his moments where he was styling on him. He had moments where me and Broly kept saying like that guy's dead, like that guy blew up.
I thought the exact same thing. I was like, oh, that guy's actually dead.
Yeah, that guy's actually dead. Like I think the two parts that stuck out to me in that first part was when he grabs the guy out of the air and then throws him against the cliff.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, Falcon, okay. And then the second part was JSP grabs the captain guy and he's just like, oh, if he crosses the thing, then too bad. And then Falcon sitting in the chair, he's like, "Sup?" Yeah. So like he was kind of running the show, and he had a little bit of a problem because his the back of his thruster got shot at one point. But yeah, I think was there anything else that you thought that they could have done better? I mean, obviously, I think the ones that we pinpoint was the dexterity and the flying around the cliffs.
Yeah, so my biggest problem, honestly, is not too much like about but it's just small gripes, right? So it's like the issue with like seeing somebody like Falcon fight against a bunch of like giant aliens and huge armies. Like, yeah, and you can say like that Falcon basically just like flew ahead and dropped bombs on everybody and was like, yeah, cool. Like, but the thing is like regardless, like, and I mean, yeah, they were the aliens are stupid and dumb and they're just like cannon fodder, but like they're still giant aliens, right? Like, so
compared to like a human guy,
like you're talking about like an alien that's a 10-foot alien that's like a behemoth, like, or like a bunch of aliens flying around with like lasers all over the place. Like, regardless if he didn't do much, like he still had to like maneuver around this giant warfield with like giant fucking alien lasers and missiles and like all this fucking crazy chaos going around. And so like seeing him go from that to this it's not like it doesn't hurt the scene or like the story building.
Yeah, but it's just something that's lingering.
Exactly.
In your background.
It's kind of like
in the back of your head.
I mean, I've seen him fight against other things that are like extremely harder to beat.
Yeah,
Versus,
I mean,
like,
I think that can be dismissed. I mean, me personally, I think it could be dismissed because there's moments like in the beginning of Age of Ultron where it's like you got Thor, the God of Thunder, fighting like Hydra base #1, you know, and destroying a bunker, and you're like, does it really matter? Like Thor could destroy this in like 2 seconds. Same thing with Hulk. It's like one of those things where, of course, it's just padding to add to the popcorn fodder aspect of, oh yay, superheroes doing superhero things.
That's basically how I saw the beginning. I was just like, oh, okay, it's gonna be Captain Falcon doing some like Captain Falcon shit.
Captain Falcon.
Falcon doing some Falcon shit, right? So it's like, it wasn't like, it wasn't, the beginning of the episode wasn't terrible. Like that whole scene wasn't bad. It was just like that thing with the whole, like, I've seen him in worse situations handling them better than something like this, and the extremity of like the secret agents that he was like chasing down, at how like, see, one of the things that about movies that like I have a problem with is that like you put humans in these situations where it's like, okay, dude, like, how did you learn how to do that? Like, how did all 12 of you guys learn how to traverse a chasm and like fly through fucking like tiny holes in rock and like barrel roll back into a fucking helicopter? Like, you can't. You're telling me that you did that like one shot, one go? You didn't like practice that for years?
I mean, well,
you know what I mean?
In retrospect, when you're thinking about it, they all got picked off one by one relatively.
Well, yeah, yes. It was pretty.
So
great.
like maybe one or two of them were on top of their game that day and they were making it through. But like the first like 2 or 3 dudes, they were done within the first, like, I don't know,
what,
like first couple of minutes or seconds of him just flying down and taking them out.
One thing I did like was the use of that.
I do applaud.
One thing that I did like was his use of the little red thing. What did he call it? Red Wing. That shit was cool as fuck. I was like, oh shit, he's fucking. Oh, that shit's cool, and like it fucking blew up a whole fucking helicopter by itself.
Helicopter, yeah. Yeah, that was another moment where Broly and I were both like, oh, they're dead. Those guys are dead.
Me too.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much so. The Falcon stuff happens, and then it goes into we meet a new character. I don't know how important he's gonna be, but I think it's just like Lieutenant Torres or something like that. And I mean, he seems like, you know, just one of those characters that are supposed to like fill in the blanks of learning about the world and where Falcon's at with it all. And I mean, he had a lot more to do in the show for sure, but I did like that he had that conversation. He's like, oh, is Steve in a moon base?
Oh, that shit was cool.
And,
yeah. He's like, where are you going? I'm going to Washington.
I'm pretty
for what? For moon stuff?
Yeah. So I'm really wondering. I'm wondering what Marvel can shoot down rumors all day long, and Kevin Feige can come out and say like, no, Chris Evans hasn't said anything. But like, I don't know. I think it's very.
No, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. I know. This is me now with you thinking, no, this is not Mephisto. No, this is me saying, nah, Chris Evans is not gonna be in it. They don't need him to come back. Let these guys do their thing.
No, I'm not saying for the show. I'm just saying like maybe a couple movies from now, a secret ending to a movie could be him in space, you know, doing something.
Sure, you know, I mean, I always still want, you know, Robert Downey come back, you know, maybe somehow bring back Iron Man. But like I said, like what the guy said was, we need new heroes. That's what, you know, there was a scene where Falcon is, you know, giving a eulogy, and Rhodey's there, War Machine's there. And
oh yeah, that was cool. I was like, oh.
Yeah, the Rhodey cameo is cool.
And he starts telling them, like, you know, we need new heroes. He's basically putting the shield up for the museum. So he's all like, here, you guys get out of the shield. I don't want to, like, I can't do it.
But I honestly think that is a big focal point of the show. I think what is happening and what is going to play out is that this show is going to be Winter Soldier meshing back into, you know, human life because he's no longer a puppet, and it's gonna be Falcon stepping up to the mantle, and he doesn't want to. And like, that's the whole, I feel like it's gonna be the journey from this episode to the end, is they're gonna be set up to be in their spots for, on, like, you know, the future of the movies. But That's why we're getting this moment where Falcon says like, oh, you know what? The first thing I said was this doesn't feel like it was. It feels like it's for somebody else. And so that's just him convincing himself that no, like the right thing to do is to make this a symbol, and it's not about the shield, it's about the guy. But then the government instantly replaces him with a new guy, and
Spoiler.
that's
Spoiler.
spoiler. Oh yeah, spoiler. Yeah. Hey, it's in the title. All right, they know it's a spoiler. Cool. But I honestly think that's a huge a moving piece to this whole plot is going to be Falcon coming to grips with the fact that he is scared and he doesn't want to be put in that position because we're already getting small little inklings of self-doubt, and his sister telling him the whole show, oh, you weren't around when it was tough, you weren't here, you left and did the whole Air Force thing, you didn't know what mom and dad had to do, and that's probably him knowing that he was too scared to step up back then, so he ran away. So I think honestly that moving into the future of the show, I think that it's going to be like that internal struggle for that character.
Yeah, one of the things actually that I did like a lot about this was Bucky's character. So I'm gonna be honest, the Winter Soldier and Bucky as a whole has never really been like one of the characters that I paid attention to a lot. Not to say that character is bad in the show or in the movies or whatever, but it's just like a character that I wasn't really like in tune with. When it comes to Marvel in general, I'm very much about and a bigger fan of the metaphysical side of Marvel, the whole like mind powers, the whole
powers.
That's my shit.
Doctor Strange,
that type of shit. Yeah. So like all the Captain Americas, Winter Soldiers, even honestly like the Iron Mans too. Like the Iron Man movies, like I watched them, but like they were never like, oh my god, like fucking this so amazing. Like, but to me, this episode really made me like Bucky way more than I already did. Like way more. Watch it. You know what it felt like to me, and I'm gonna use this comparison. It felt like watching Logan or Wolverine try to like become a part of society. That I got that same exact vibe watching.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Like kind of like the beginning of Logan, I guess, in a way.
Yes, like watching somebody that like you've seen in all these other movies play this like completely serious role, right? Like he's all about like the action. He's all about like just
he was fighting. Like, he was fighting fucking robots.
He even says it in the episode, right? He's like, I spent fucking 90 years just like straight fighting shit. Like I haven't done anything else. So it's like when you talk about Bucky, that's like what pops in your head, right? Somebody who's all about the action. It's like his main focal job and like his main point is just gonna be like getting rid of the enemy, right? So like watching him like do stuff like take care of the old guy, go on that date with the chick, and then watching him have like feelings about like how bad he felt for killing what's his name's son, like watching that character progression like definitely made me enjoy Bucky as a character way more, and like seeing his just how much he's changed from the movies is really good, and I really like the way they did it in this show, and I think it's gonna get even better.
Yeah, I agree. I think like a lot of it is, you know, understanding the moniker of the Winter Soldier. It's really like, is it a bad thing or is it a good thing? Like, does he want to be James, you know, Bucky Barnes, you know, this guy that had a life that, you know, that was taken from him because of Hydra, and he has to live, you know, in the present time and that, where you know, because before the Winter Soldier, Captain America 1, he was just like this normal dude, you know, he was just this guy. He was Steve Rogers' best friend, and then he comes back and his mind is fucking warped, and he's a killer, and he's been doing, you know, assassination missions all the time, and it's not like he doesn't know, because he had a line where he says, "I remember everything," I know what I've done.
Yeah.
And so is the Winter Soldier name, is it tainted? Is it bad? Does it mean that he's gonna be like the bad version? Or can he turn that into something good? Can he be called the Winter Soldier and still be good? Can he still like perform and be his hero? And I feel like I do agree with you guys that like I think he wants to move on, but at the same time I don't know if he does, because he does have that list. He is making his his amends that he was talking to his psychiatrist about.
Which, by the way, was like one of my favorite scenes in the whole show. Was that psychiatrist scene? Oh my god, it was like, actually funny. Like I actually laughed. I thought it was funny.
It's really good because like you get to it's crazy how like Hydra's still there. Like even after all this time, like, you would think after Civil War it's over. No, like you would think after the 5 years is over. No,
I mean it's really a smart thing, because with the 5 year like gap, Hydra could have rebuilt in 5 years.
Well, I mean, half of them is gone. I don't know. It's kind of like.
Well, we don't know. Like, who's to say how many people from Hydra left or how many?
Zemo's coming, and he's confirmed in the show. And I mean, they showed him off.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, unlike in WandaVision, where I think everybody was like, "Oh, Hydra," and they never came out. I think this show will definitely have very big implications on Hydra and what they've been doing. Especially because they control Bucky, and I think that's going to be a major storyline in the show, is them trying to get Bucky.
Well, basically, I mean, so I guess we'll get caught up because we missed a lot of beats.
We
talking about all that. So basically, we met the Torres guy. They talk about the moon stuff. We go to Washington. Falcon gives a speech about how Steve's a great guy and that the shield is a symbol, but the guy holding it up was what mattered. And he says that the shield should stay with Steve, and he says thank you Steve, thank you Captain America, and then he puts the shield up on display. And so him and Rhodey have a talk, and Rhodey just says like, why didn't you take the mantle? I gotta ask. And he's just like, oh, it just didn't feel like it was for me. And then he says, Cap was on ice for all these years, and there was no shield. Nobody had the shield. We were fine. And then Rhodey says, like, well, those were different times. Like, now we're in the present. He's basically saying, yeah, you could say that for that time. Maybe it worked out for nobody having the shield at that moment. But now, given everything we've been through, maybe we do need it here as well, And so all that happens, and then I think right after that moment is when we get to Bucky flashback. So Bucky, it's a flashback where he is operating as the Winter Soldier.
Which was cool as shit, by the way. It was to show up with like the mask on and everything. That was fucking
yeah. It's really cool because it at first, as a viewer, you're like, oh wait, well, we saw him with long hair at the end of Endgame. So is he working right now? Like, is this a government issued Winter Soldier thing, but from the good guy side?
That's what I thought too.
But then soon enough we find out that no, like he says Hail Hydra, he knocks him down and kills that guy, and then you see one of the I guess I'm not too sure what his profession was, but one of the people studying there, or one of the workers there, he is struggling to open the door, and he's like, I won't say anything, I promise, I didn't see anything. And of course, it's such a good shot where it zooms in on Bucky's eyes, and you can kind of see like just a hint of him being like not conflicted on the surface, but behind his eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in his mind, he's like, I don't want to do this, but all he does is you see the gun come up, and he's dead. And it's so impactful, because as soon as that happens, he wakes up and he's sleeping on the floor for some reason in some fucking apartment.
He wakes up, he's like, oh.
Yeah, he's just like on the floor and just out of it. And I thought, I mean, it was a cool transition, and then it goes straight from there to another transition of him in the psychiatrist's room, and they're just talking, and she's like, so you having nightmares? He's like, nope. And yeah, that whole exchange was awesome. I thought it's very funny, but it's also like we got a little bit of that humorous, sarcastic Bucky in Civil War. and especially with Falcon, like that was some of the best moments with Falcon and Bucky was when they were working off of each other and like joking around with each other, but like passive aggressively. So we get more of that in this scene with the psychiatrist where he's just like, "You're not a really good shrink, huh, Jock?" And he's like, "Are you lashing out at me?" And he's like, "That's not very professional."
Busting out the book again.
Yeah, busting out the book. Yeah. He's like, "Oh, there's a notebook
the
again."
notebook
Yeah,
again.
it was pretty good. It was a humorous way of understanding that he's not in a great mindset, but he's also that's his coping
One thing I'll
mechanism. Is just
say that I didn't like, maybe needed to be explained a little more. Going back to what Rhodey says about why didn't you take the mantle? We live in a different time. I don't really understand that because this is post Thanos. This is after Endgame. They did the big thing. There isn't anything that's like lingering. There isn't anything that's like foreshadowing.
that they know of. That's the thing is that
Exactly.
you once you get
Hold on.
robbed at
Exactly what
gun.
you're saying.
Okay, go ahead.
They don't know it. So, like, yeah, you could probably be maybe paranoid and maybe be like, well, we don't know if anything's happened, so we need to be ready. But that's like he's basically telling them like we live in a time where you should be picking this up, and I don't really agree with it because it's like we're in a peaceful time right now, and like I think if there was a time for him to say no, this time would be good. It would be like, no, I don't want to be Captain America. It's not my thing, or it doesn't feel right. Like I don't understand the direction or where Rhodey's coming from, saying, we need it. Like, yeah, maybe you're worried because what Captain America's gone and Iron Man's gone, so those are like the two big, the cornerstones of the Avengers. They're gone. Maybe you're worried about that, but I don't know. Like I don't really see, like, oh, like if crime rate is going up in America, like it ties into the very end of the show, and I won't spoil it right now, but it ties into that. Like, what was the need for it? Like they made it seem like there's a need, but we didn't get that need. We don't really see that need in this episode. So I kind of want that to be, maybe tied in next episode or something that's brought up.
So are you talking about like the need for like a new Captain America?
Yeah.
Okay, I could kind of talk about that, right? So the reason why, I mean, Captain America has always been like a symbol of hope, right? For America in Marvel, right? That was like the shield was like the symbol of hope for America. America was going to be saved, blah blah blah. The thing is that like people, I think the the way that the government is thinking is that people are already so accustomed to knowing that there's going to be somebody there to protect them and like give them some sort of, whether it be like false hope of like false security or not, like it doesn't matter because it pacifies the people, right? Like it allows the people to have something to believe in, whether or not like crime rate has gone up or there's like a deadly force against like the earth or America or whatever. Like the whole point of it is to let Americans know like, hey, yeah, there may be not anything going on right now, but if there is, this is what we got. We have somebody here for you, so you don't have to worry, because when you have a character like Captain America who's been around in this universe for so long, people have grown accustomed to it. They've grown accustomed to their daily lives going about knowing that like, you know what, like I can feel a little bit more safe knowing that somebody like Captain America is going to be watching over everybody, right? With that taken away, the people now have panic, right? Because their beacon of hope has now been taken away. And yeah, like, I agree with the whole Captain Falcon thing. Like, yeah, it should be.
We're gonna say Captain Falcon. No, I understand. We're gonna say Captain Falcon.
It's Captain Falcon.
And it's gonna happen or whatever. My only argument or counter to that, Goss, is that he even says it in the show that he's done. Captain America was gone for 70 years and nobody cared. Like he was, and America was fine, right? Like why do we care about now? But I do see your point in saying like it is kind of like, I guess, like in a way like My Hero, where like you need someone to be a symbol. You need someone there before the panic, the public
before
panic.
before the thing sets in, because
Right.
if like the thing is, it's not about being able to have Captain America when something happens. It's about like these people knowing that they don't have, like, it's just about keeping the peace, right? It's keeping the people calm, right? Because they're so used to, and I mean, I know that they said like, oh yeah, well, the world survived 70 years without Captain America, blah blah blah, but like this point in time, these people are so accustomed to Captain America already that it, like, yeah, maybe he wasn't around during that time period when he was frozen, but now it's like, it's kind of like Rhodey said, it's a different time. It's a completely different time. Like, it's not the same anymore.
Yeah.
People are already accustomed to him being around.
I think that moment, I think it's just something that it's supposed to, instill doubt into Falcon. It's basically saying like, I believe this way about the shield and what my role is here, and I just think Steve wanted it to be passed on, but it shouldn't, and Rhodey's just kind of putting in that little bit of doubt in that and saying just maybe there's more to it, and I think you're selling yourself short or something like that. And so moving on past that, we end up we have the Bucky moment, and then it goes into where he is in the psychiatrist. He's talking to her, and he's breaking down a moment where he was making amends in this little book, and he had helped this one senator, I believe he said, was rise to power, but she was also with Hydra, and he remembers. And so he tracks the car. He gets audio files of their basically like a confession, I suppose. And I don't know why he had to remote control the car. Like, he was like, let me fuck with him a little bit and jank around the car for a moment, and then put him in park, and then show up and be like, hey, remember me? It just felt like he didn't have to do that, but I guess he just wanted to make it feel like he was in control or something.
Yes, so that is exactly how I felt about that scene. It made those scenes with like the psychiatrist and the scenes with Yori and then the chick, it makes Bucky seem more human, instead of him being a fucking weapon. Like those scenes where he that scene where he fucked with the person, and like when he went up to the fucking window and he told him, I'm Bucky Barnes, I was working for Hydra, but I'm no longer with Hydra. And then
yeah, he has a little motto. Yeah,
that shit was funny. Like, and it made you understand like he's at least trying. You know what I mean? Like, going from being a weapon that was used by Hydra for 90 fucking years to him.
Do you think, just to derail just a small bit, do you guys think that Bucky's gonna relapse, but in a good way? Do you guys feel like there's gonna be a moment where he's taking all these steps and he's trying and he's attempting to learn how to blend back into the real world and become a civilian? Like she says, you're a civilian. Well, we need to make sure that as part of your pardon that you're keeping up with your end of the deal to you're not going to be incarcerated, you're not a criminal, but we don't want you going around and start punching people. But do you think that is Bucky's role, is that he's going to try, but then I'm trying to think of a character that's I think it's, I mean, Iron Man, it comes to mind, but you try to find somebody who can't quit something they're good at, and even though it's caused him so much mental anguish and he's done so many bad things, do you think it's not going to turn out to where he's just going to be a civilian? It's actually going to be he tries all he can, but at the end of the day, he's gonna be like, I'm the Winter Soldier. Like, this is what I'm good at. This is what I know, what I can do, and I'm gonna I'm just gonna
Do you
join,
mean by like the
sword
end
or
of this
shield or whatever.
show, or do you mean by?
Yeah, by the end of the show, I think like that's gonna be his route. Is gonna be like try, try, try. I have to make friends. I have to make connections. I have to blah blah blah. And then at the end of the day, he's gonna be like, I can't just be a civilian. This is my life. I want to
I don't
do this.
know.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
I don't know. I feel like this show is in a very weird spot because, and again, this kind of ties into what level we are. Like, obviously, this show has good hopes of like really tying into Secret Invasion, which we all think is gonna be like the next huge, movie that's coming up. Um, and so like I think it has potential to do that, and so where these characters go, um, yeah, there's a lot of potential. I definitely think can see him going off, and I do like there's some he could go off and be the leader of Sword, or because of the whole moon thing, right? Like they've already teased the moon thing already once or twice in the show. I can see him falling back and becoming Winter Soldier and doing these kind of missions. But that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know if you're gonna be able to have him do something like that because you're always looking forward. You're always moving forward, and it's not like they have all the luxury in the world to just do all these little movies. So it's kind of like one of those things. Like, okay, is he gonna be important for that kind of role or that kind of like that?
Well, I mean, to bounce off of that, for me personally, what I would love for Winter Soldier's like where he ends up after everything's said and done, sort of thing, is either one. Nick Fury is in the sky. He's up in space. He's doing the thing with the scrolls, and he's got his ties up there. And I feel like Bucky could fill that role after this show, or even like maybe show up in a couple of movies where because in the comics, Bucky was the one who trained the Red Room, where like where Black Widow was trained. And he's kind of had that history of just battle experience and stuff. So him fitting a spot of like a character who could show up in movies in the future, but just like like kind of what Samuel Jackson does, where he'll show up and like it kind of help bridges meet to an end or something like that. But I feel that he could kind of find that groove of, I'm not going to be on the front lines, but I am going to be doing secret ops, and then I'm also going to be running like new teams of like, civilian people who are the best at what they do. Sort of.
I mean, he could go the other way too. He could become the new Captain America.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I didn't like. I'm tossing up in my head too. I don't know if it'll ever get to that point where it's them deciding which one's better for the Shield. I'm sold on. I'm more than sure it's gonna be Falcon.
I'm more than sure it's gonna be Falcon. I think, and I guess we could talk about the end of this episode. The big. I mean, I don't know if it's a big reveal.
It actually is.
I don't know who it is, but I mean,
do you know who that is?
I don't know who that is. I don't know.
It's his name is John Walker. It's actually the U.S. agent. He's the guy. There's a point in the comic book where Captain America has second thoughts about being Captain America. He's basically saying like the government's corrupt. I don't want to like do this anymore. Like I'm protecting a government that doesn't even like protect its own people, etc., etc. So he hangs up the shield, and this other dude named John Walker comes in and becomes the new Captain America, and then later on becomes the U.S. agent, who's like he looks like Captain America. He has like the same kind of suit, but it's like black, and instead of like all the blue parts, it's black instead of blue.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was like the big reveal, which is one of the things that I liked a lot about this episode, because I saw that and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like it made me think like if I know Marvel, they're gonna do something where this is the perfect moment to put in a new MCU character, with Captain America being gone, because in the comics, Captain America doesn't die. He gives up being Captain America, right? He's just like, I don't want to do it. I'm peacing out, and they get another dude, and they give him another version of like the super soldier shit, and he takes on the moniker of Captain America, and then eventually into U.S. agent.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna do that. What do you think of it? I don't think they're gonna give him.
I think that I mean, because it's already happened plenty of times in the Marvel universe, like with the movies, where they'll take they'll like be kind of like tongue in cheek with certain aspects of the comics, but then they'll give it like a twist. And so they might start off that way, where they're like, "Oh, okay, well, we're gonna give it to this John Walker guy," but then they might make it to where he's just like this super dorky.
That's what I think. Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be something permanent. Like I said, I definitely agree with saying that the Falcon is gonna become Captain America by the end of the show. But I feel like I said again, the guy that plays Captain America, he doesn't stay Captain America for long. So what I think will happen is he's gonna try to become Captain America. And then something is gonna happen that's gonna make him realize, or he's gonna come to some like huge revelation that, you know what, maybe he's just not cut out to be like Captain America. So I think he'll still be a character in the series, and I think U.S. Agent might be a character.
Show up at some point.
I think what'll happen is he'll stop being Captain America, but still stick around and be U.S. Agent instead. That's what I think is going to be.
I think it's gonna be like totally different. I think it's kind of like what Vaz was saying. I think he's just gonna be a big ass dork, and he's gonna go and he's just there to fill in the shoes. You kind of like know how like Captain America was in the beginning
he definitely could. He could be a plot. He could just be like, we need Falcon to step up.
No, I don't think here's how. I think it's just a symbol. Like, here's Captain America, but it's literally like a paper. Like, he's just there just to look the part, and that's it.
Yeah, you're talking about. So what you're saying is you think that this dude is just going to be somebody who's just there to play the part, and he's actually going to like suck ass at like doing his job.
Yeah, like I think it's going to be like what I feel like next episode something's going to happen is Falcon's going to confront him, and then the guy's just going to be like, well, you know, someone has to do it, and he's gonna give him a wink and be like an asshole.
Yeah,
like just think of like a cocky asshole, like, you know, you snooze you lose, bro, like sort of thing. Like, I feel like they could go
like
that
all
route.
The characters Jesse Eisenberg plays. Okay, yeah, I got.
Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, okay. So I think the only thing that we're missing is So obviously
the family. I like. I want to talk about Captain Falcon, Captain Falcon's family. I want to talk about that because one of the things I liked was them diving deeper into what life was like during the blip. That's I like that because.
That's what I really hope the show really opens, because Spider-Man Far From Home is supposed to happen after Falcon the Winter Soldier.
Oh, okay.
Because timeline wise, WandaVision happens like a week after Thanos is defeated.
Yeah.
And then this happens like, I think it's 5 or 6 months after WandaVision.
Okay.
Well,
and then after,
but I don't think Loki matters because he's over there, like he's in.
Yeah, but this happens after WandaVision, like 6 months or 5 months after, and then Far From Home happens after this. So, and Far From Home, they kind of give you a, an overview of like, oh, this is what we call it the blip, and here are these people, and here's these videos, and they made it kind of funny. They were like, oh, look here, we're at a school band.
Oh yeah,
performance,
and all the people just show up. Yeah.
So they were trying to make it like a little funny here and there, but then I'm really hoping this show opens, like, we're getting into like technical shit, like, oh, you want a loan, but like, back then, that was the rules and that was agreement, but since not anymore.
Everybody's trying to get a loan since the 5-year blip or whatever, they don't have money anymore. Yeah,
and I'm honestly surprised that they're going the route of what Falcon was saying, where he's like, oh yeah, I mean, it's kind of more of a goodwill sort of deal, and we're not really on, we're not making a lot of money, and I'm like, wow, really? I thought
that was
cool. I thought for sure, like,
I liked that.
Yeah, that was very interesting. Yeah, like I thought Tony would bail me.
Yeah, I just think Tony's a dick for that.
You find out like what the it was cool to find out like what
the government.
It was cool to find out what the like how the what's it, like the economic side of like being an Avenger comes into play, right? You start to figure out, like, you get a little bit of insight on like, were they paid? How were they like set to? They have a 401k? Like what the fuck? Like what the fuck are they set up with? How do they make a living?
Even the smallest details in the words even like sit with me when I'm watching. Like when the guy was like, "Oh, I thought, Stark would pay you. My condolences, by the way." Like Tony Stark fucking saved the world, saved the universe, and the guy at the bank is just like, "Yeah, my condolences on Stark, but we're not gonna give you
like,
this
yeah,
loan."
that sucks,
and it's like,
but
yeah, it's crazy to me, like that sort of detail to the people you're fighting for and the people you want to protect. They take you for granted.
Yep.
And Falcon gets really defensive. He gets really annoyed. He gets really pissed when he finds out that the guy's like, "Oh, can you put your arms out for a selfie like this?" And he's like, "Are you serious
right now?"
Yeah. And
I know how it is with me, right?
and,
Oh my! Can you put your hands out, bro?
Yeah, it is.
Can you put your hands out, bro?
Are you serious, bro?
But so yeah, the family. I think the family sections were great. My girlfriend brought up a point that she said that she didn't like personally, was the sister of Falcon was ragging on him a little too hard. It's not like Falcon could have known a purple space alien dude was gonna wipe half the universe away, and she was just kind of like brushing it off. She's like, "Yeah, I know you got blipped, but I had to do a lot of stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, but he could have been dead forever. Like, you're gonna guilt trip him for being dead?"
Well, so I think that kind of, I actually enjoy stuff like that, because that shows you the two different aspects of like two different worlds that were going on, right? Because like, yeah, you can say that like what she went through, like you can measure up what she went through versus what he went through, right? And we could measure up like who was worse or whatever, but like,
yeah, they still went
exactly.
Through it. It's like it doesn't matter about who had it bad, who had it more worse. It's just we both had it bad.
Reality is subjective, right? Your reality is whatever you make it as a person, right? So like this the Falcon's sister, like to her, what she went through during that time could have been like something that was just as bad as like watching Thanos like destroy the world. You know what I mean? Like maybe on paper it doesn't seem like it doesn't measure up.
The only reason I gave her a pass, and me personally, because my girlfriend's the one that didn't really have she didn't like that part. But for me, the reason why I didn't mind it and I gave her a pass was because she made it seem like he was flaky and unreliable, but even before all that, like when he was joining the Air Force, she was just like, "You didn't know what mom and dad had to deal with, and you left. You made your choice, and you're trying to right your wrongs."
Yeah, when she said that, I was like, "What does she mean by that? Like, what wrongs does he need to right?" You know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah, I'm guessing it was one of those choices of like, get stuck in this small part of the world where you have to take care of your family, or go do what you want with your life. And I think he chose, "I want to be in the Air Force, and I don't want to deal with this anymore." But then that put all the weight on her shoulders for the family. So I that's why I gave it a pass, because I was like, there's more to it than just the 5 years. It felt like they had some beef even before then. And but yeah, I think the whole dynamic of Falcon's family kind of being woven in, it's one of those times where I'm like, man, this is Falcon the Avenger, but he's on a boat picking up boxes and like making fucking jambalaya gumbo and shit. And I'm like, it's really cool to see them humanized even further that way. But it's like it's one of those moments where I'm like, I'm watching a Marvel. This is like superheroes in comics, and I'm watching this guy, go to the bank. But it's still engaging.
Yeah, I really like that whole part of the episode. I really enjoyed a lot. That's the thing I like the most about like the cinematic universe specifically is I like the moments where they make these characters seem more human, right? Because at the end of the day, right, a lot of these people are just that, right? Like they're still human beings. They might be super beings or whatever, right? Like, but at the end of the day, like a lot of these characters are just Earthlings. They're just people on Earth living just like everybody else. You know what I mean? So like being able to like get them in situations where you understand like, hey, wait a minute, like these guys actually like they're not all about like the action 24/7. You know, they actually have like an ego, or they have emotion, and they have like, you know, regular human things that like regular people go through, and they still have to go through that. And being able to showcase that in this episode was really great, and they did it both for Falcon and Bucky, and I really liked that a lot.
Something I want to address. I mean, unless Brawley, do you have anything you want to say?
About the episode.
Or just anything you want to bring up?
I mean, I did want to bring up. We haven't touched on the new group, the Flag Smash.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, I mean, we can probably end on that. If, we'll end on that, and then we'll talk about what we think next episode will bring, and then just overall rating of the episode.
I'm interested. I mean, it seems so. Like one of the people in the department that was working with Wilson on the mission to go save those guys, he is undercover and went and looked at they were handing out these masks. Masks had like the red like hand over their face. It's like black mask, and something's going down. This guy kind of comes out of the building, takes their money. I think they're in Switzerland.
Yeah.
And like first, like he chases them and he tries to like arrest them, and the guy just turns around and like just like kind of like beats him, and it kind of like shows off that he has a little bit of human strength.
Yeah,
like,
that guy definitely has superhuman abilities of some sort.
Like he's Winter Soldier 2.0 or something. I don't know.
Well, we have the. I'm trying to remember from the Civil War, they made more Winter Soldier, like Super Soldier, Winter Soldiers, or whatever, and I want to say some of them were released, or if anything, I think like one of them got away or something. So maybe Zemo has them under his control. Because we know the guy in the black mask, I mean in the purple mask, is supposed to be Zemo, the guy from Civil War. The one that Black Panther was trying to kill, and at the end he's just like, no, I'm not going to kill you.
Yeah. I mean, I mean it's interesting. I do see it, tying into Zemo again. Can't wait to see his debut in the series.
I'm trying to remember what the purple mask. It's supposed to be like he has a name, but I forgot what it was. Let me find that out real quick.
I don't really know.
But something that I did want to bring up, something that I did want to bring up is obviously they don't. Everyone in the show acts like Steve is dead, but no one is addressing what happened to Cap. Like, and so I really do think that's a setup for something later in the show. I want to say it's something, but beyond that, what I want to talk about is, I mean, the moments we get with Bucky and that old guy Yori, I believe his name was. It's such a crazy, just so simple but so effective, that he found the dad of the kid he killed when he was Winter Soldier, and it's just so heartbreaking that, like, out of guilt, like, Bucky is trying to befriend this old man and take him to lunch and be his friend, because he took his son away from him. It's crazy. It's such good story. Like, that's why I've said it forever. Like, Winter Soldier is my favorite Marvel hero, and the reason why I usually like heroes like opposite of you guys, I usually like heroes that are a little bit more grounded and a little bit more
hand-to-hand combat, like physical combat.
Yeah, just like a little bit more underpowered, like people who are reasonably, doing things that are at peak human potential. I guess. Yeah. The reason I like that is because their stories are usually something that you can relate to a little bit better, rather than alien guy, can't find this stone that's gonna, help his foot from growing better or something, like some random bullshit, like super celestial lore that you can give a character, which it's interesting in its own right for sure, but just on a relatable, more like heartstring sort of tugging thing.
Yeah, you do feel
I like
for
characters that are a
Bucky
little bit.
and
Yeah, you can feel for them. And so, something that I want to point out is the action in this show, like, feels so much more intense. Not in the fact of like explosions and catastrophic events, but like when the guy kicked that dude in the face.
Oh,
and
it was
he,
like
his face got
fucked. Like his face went from like 0 to 100. Like
like so when that happened, and then when Bucky is killing those people and throwing knives in their face, and then the whole Falcon thing where he's like, you know, shooting people and throwing them out of helicopters. Like, I'm so surprised and so like my eyes are like bulging. I'm like, whoa, Marvel, you're actually killing people and being very aggressive with your you know, the way you're handling people, these action scenes. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, I like that because it shows that Marvel definitely has an understanding of who is watching their content. Yeah, obviously, like, me getting into the Marvel universe as a whole started very young for me, and it started with, like, you know, the cartoons and comics and video games, etc. But like, we're in like a completely different time, right? And like the people that were into those types of things are already like adults. They're grown up. So like seeing a little bit more of a risque like a risque thing where they're actually like killing people in their movies now, or like in their show is a little like
Bro, look at the Punisher, bro. Like, that shit is fucking hardcore.
Yeah, Punisher's rough.
It's
hardcore.
I actually haven't seen that.
Dude,
yeah, dude. Oh my! After this discussion, we're gonna do a 0-0 video from that show, and you're gonna be like, "What the fuck,
dude,
Marvel?"
Alright, I'm down.
Just put the scene, dude. That's all you have to
So, one last thing I want to say before we go into the like talking about the last part. I do like that. So a takeaway from the show, and also from WandaVision, is what I love with what Marvel's doing is, I mean, it's very obvious that, oh, we're in downtime from movies and they're setting up Phase 4, so what better way to do a very deeper dive into singular characters than TV shows. And what I love that they're doing with both this show and WandaVision is that they're showing superheroes, but like exploring their side of life that's like bad, or you know, just they're not all happy rainbows and sunshines. They're showing their human sides. They're showing like how they're people who have everyday problems.
Yeah, they're showing
the
characters actually go through human emotion, like, and
yeah, and they have like darker sides. Like they have like Falcon can be an Avenger, and he can be, you know, the guy who saved the day and to the rescue. But you saw his, you know, when the guy said, no, we're going to deny you the bank thing, like, he was pissed. He's like, I'm going to go to every bank and I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's a real problem. And it's so cool that Wanda goes through all of these emotions, and we saw it on full display. And now we're seeing the very minuscule moments with these characters and, like, their struggles with, you know, coping with what happened with the world, and it's not all normal anymore. Thanos fucked up so much, and then just the intricacies of how are we going to make these characters feel even more real than just, oh, I'm a superhero and it's all happy and I get paid millions of dollars. Like, no, it doesn't work that way, you know?
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. That was what. It's really funny how something like that actually ended up being something that I didn't realize that I would be so interested in. Is that scene at the bank specifically, where you see, like, you figure out, like, hey, actually, you know what? I've never really thought about, like, how the fuck these guys are getting paid. Like, it's just never something that's crossed my mind before. And now it's kind of like you see the struggle of these people that, you know, have been saving the world time and time again. And when they get hit with, like, real life problems, it's like, well, you know, like, you actually weren't paid at all. Like, pretty crazy.
I'm so excited for the world building, because I know we got a confirmation from, I think, one of the trailers. I was watching like a breakdown video, and they're gonna be going to a lot of places that have sprung up after like the 5 years and stuff. Like Madripoor, I believe, is one of the places they go to, and that opens up the door for a lot of shit. Like, just Madripoor could be more X-Men related stuff in the future. Omega Red could show up.
That
like,
would
you
be
know,
cool.
there's so much. Yeah, there's so much that could happen, and I'm just really excited to see a more grounded take on world building with this show. And the first episode it definitely was, you know, I definitely, for a pilot, I think it got things going in a relatively nice way, and it also gave me some things to you know, mull over until the next week comes by.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do anything X-Men mutant related in a show.
Yeah, I don't think a mutant will show up, but I definitely think we'll get the.
They're waiting for a movie to do.
I'm just saying, I think we're getting cookie crumbs of something for a movie later or something.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, obviously
definitely.
we're getting Secret Invasion. I mean, that's the main one that we're all. It's like the event, like we all knew Avengers was coming, so you know, like we that's what we're going toward now. Is we know that Secret Invasion is coming. Now they're putting all these little sprinkles into the one movie that kind of feels like it's now out of place. But I'm very interested in how they deal with it. The ending is Black Widow. I don't know where this is at. This is a character that's dead, and I get it that it's a prequel, and it's before her becoming the Avengers. But I don't know. I mean, they definitely need to show off Budapest because they mentioned that all the damn time. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think
Budapest is happening in Black Widow movie now.
that's what I said. Yeah, they have to show it. Like my, you know, what I really hope people do is when they watch the show is don't go to the levels of expectancy as you did in WandaVision.
Yeah, I would have to
Well,
say, I agree with that.
Still enjoy the show because the show's still gonna be amazing, but it's just it's not gonna be as, you know,
Shocking, I guess
I don't
you
want
could
to
say.
say I don't want to say thought provoking because I think I mean, obviously there's still elements in here that can.
You're
but
talking
it's
about,
still
like, you know
gonna be
what?
on
It's
the
not going to
lower
be
level.
as, yeah, it's not going to be as shocking, right? Like, it's not going to be one of those where, like,
What I would compare it to is like the steps that Killmonger took to learn about Wakanda and then gain entry into Wakanda is the kind of vibe that people should expect from this show. It's gonna be like very basic, like espionage and learning through, you know, interrogation tactics and learning from people to people to get to from point A to B. In this, you know, I don't think it's gonna be super detailed, like what Raleigh's saying, like super thought-provoking. Where like, oh, this one hint of a glare in someone's eye means that they're being controlled.
That's what I'm saying. Like WandaVision was all about universe breaking.
that's why that show was allowed for that type of like fan theories to be discussed, because the show was
there's so many,
because the show was about the multiverse. Like, that's what the show was about. So like, you could have those sort of fan theories. With this, I think it's going to be, like you guys are saying, a little bit more straightforward. I think it's not going to be as, like, you're not going to have episodes like at the end you're going to be like, oh my god, no fucking way, like, oh shit, like, it's I mean, there's still going to be surprises.
I think
and
we
stuff,
might get we might get moments like that of just like, oh, if a character gets shot at the last second, or if you know, I don't know, Falcon is stuck somewhere and then they like break his wings off and the episode ends. Then, you know, stuff like that could happen. But I really think it's going to be very, very minimal sort of progression, but in a more world building way.
Yes.
That's my hope, is that I just hope that they explore more of what the world's like and how all the baddies, who are still baddies even though half the world got blipped away, what they were up to while we were gone, and how they've, you know, evolved, or how they've set their place in the world while the superheroes were busy. But I guess moving on to the last piece is just yeah. So I think they were called the Flag Smasher Group.
Yeah.
I think that's what that tourist guy calls them. So he infiltrates one of their rallies and he talks to some guy in German, I believe was the language they were speaking, and he's like, "What are we supposed to do here?" And then they get the alert, and the person's handing out masks, and so the masks were just a big diversion. And I'm guessing on the phone they get a message that says "run," so they make a big frenzy of like, "Hey, there's all these people wearing the same mask as this guy or this person who is robbing this place. Who are we gonna stop?" And the thing that is raises an eyebrow is the fact that the guy or the person, we don't know if it's a guy or girl, but the person displays very, very superhuman strength. He or she kicks somebody like across the entirety of the street, and then he instantly destroys this guy's face with one kick. And so I'm more than sure that Zemo is in this show. I think it's confirmed, and in the promotional flyers and posters and stuff, he was on there with the purple mask. So my guess is that a person is one of the discount bootleg super soldier serum experiments. It's either that, or it's an inhuman, or it could be a cookie crumb to just an altered being like a mutant. But I don't know. But my guess is that it's going to be a bootleg super soldier serum person that Zemo found, because that was his whole thing in Civil War.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Didn't they hint at it that there was a bunch of other Winter Soldiers in Civil War, and that some of them escaped, or did they say that they killed them all? I forgot.
Yeah, I would have to rewatch Civil War to fully understand. I remember there was like they didn't receive it well, or their like bodies broke down, but then I think some of them did, or maybe one of them did. So I would have to rewatch Civil War and listen to what he says about that one moment. But yeah, anybody else have anything else to say, or do we want to go into our final thoughts? Hey, Golden, how's it going?
I think this show is, and I'm gonna make the comparison again. And I wanted to bring up something that I think Brawley, or that you guys had talked about with what Bucky was going to, how he's going to like what the future of his character is, right? Like, is he gonna try to adapt into this like lifestyle of just being like a regular model citizen, or is he gonna realize that, you know what, I'm the fucking super soldier, like I'm the fucking Winter Soldier, you know what I mean? Like I can't do this. That also is another comparison, and I think I'm always gonna make this comparison between the two. He feels exactly like Logan, like the way that his story is brought up. Like, he's this weapon who was used by like a secret organization to fight for whatever reason. This person doesn't know anything else other than fighting and killing people, and they're trying to adapt to like another way of life, right? So like, and they have like the same demeanor, very like stoic, very serious, and I think Bash is right, where I think what's going to happen is, not in a bad way, but I feel like he's going to understand that, you know what, I can't just be a regular person. Like, there's something inside of Bucky, I feel like, and I think he's going to recognize that he just can't run from, and that's coming to terms with who he is. And that's and that also ties in with Logan and Wolverine, right? Where Wolverine had to come to terms with who he is, right? Which is, he's a weapon. He was created as a weapon. That's just who he is. It's how he chooses to use that that's important, right? And I think that's what's gonna end up happening to Bucky too. He's just gonna come to this realization where it's gonna be like, you know what, I was made this way. There's nothing that I can do that's gonna stop it from happening. But what I do with what I have is what's important. And I think that's what's gonna he's gonna have that realization in the show. And I really hope that happens too, because I love that type of shit. I like it when that's why I liked Wolverine so much, because I like seeing somebody who's literally a weapon, a complete mindless weapon, to somebody who's making choices about who they're going to become, instead of letting the fact that, oh, you were built to as a killing machine dictate who they are, right? So and I really hope that happens with Bucky, and I at least I think it's going to be. And this episode really does show you can kind of see it, right? He kind of he's trying here and there. He goes on that little date with the Asian chick, and they play Battleship or whatever the hell, and you could tell that he's starting to come, even when he was having that conversation, and she brought up something about the old Asian dude, right? He immediately left. He was just all right, I'm peacing out, I'm dipping.
So, I did think it was funny that she was just what's with the gloves? She's oh, poor circulation, and she's just how old are you? 106, and he's it was really cool. It's true. I mean, that's you just think oh yeah, get back out there, find a girlfriend. But it's is she gonna accept the fact that you're some guy from 1964 or whatever, and
you have a fucking metal arm,
and you have a metal arm, yeah. But yeah, I think closing thoughts for me, just overall episode was solid. It was a great start. It really sets the tone for what's to come, and it got the ball rolling a lot faster than WandaVision did.
I piggyback off that. I think that this show definitely got to the point faster than WandaVision did.
Yeah. Golden in the chat says, between this and WandaVision, it seems they have an overarching theme of characters growing on their weaknesses. Bucky has to come to terms with himself, and Sam has to come to terms with that not everything will be the same after the blip. Yeah, that's those some solid starting points for both of them to move on from. And honestly, if there's one thing that I should take away from all this, is Sam should have just called Pepper Potts and been like, hey, this bank's giving me problems.
Yo, please.
They hooked me up, you know what I mean? Just Pepper Potts, she owns more. Tony said it himself. He's it's anyone who runs the company more than Pepper is Jarvis, but Jarvis is Vision now, so it's it's Pepper and Friday.
Vision.
But Brawley, for you, ending thoughts?
I'm excited, man. I'm ready for the show. I'm ready for what's coming up next for the show. I hope it goes in the right direction. I hope that we get to explore more about Bucky, about how he's come to terms. I mean, it really hits home, and I applaud Marvel for actually putting in scenes where they are really, really emotional. They did a very good job with that in WandaVision, where people get really attached to these characters and feel how they are or how relatable they are. And this is the same thing. This man is 106 years old, has no family, has no friends. He had Steve Rogers and he's gone. So who is he going to rely on? Who does he have now? And it's up to him to say, you know what? There's Sam Wilson. I need to talk to him. And I know he doesn't want to.
Yeah, that's something we didn't talk about at all. They didn't meet this whole time.
That was one of the things that I was gonna bring up, is one because I had said that there were a couple things that I was a little bit disappointed in with this episode, and that was one of them. I wish that they had at least some sort of interaction, because
the only interaction we got was they mentioned that Sam had been trying to reach him, but he's ignoring the text.
Yeah, that's basically all we got. I expected at least that scene when they're on the boat and Sam's phone rings, or the text message thing goes off, and it's his homie telling him hey, yo, get to a secret line. I gotta show you this crazy shit that happened. When that sound went off, I thought that was Bucky.
No, to go further, to piggyback off of that, do you think Torres is or Falcon is thinking that that guy in the mask is Bucky.
Yes, or at least I feel that it's like it's one of those things that's like in the back of his mind, where he's like,
yeah, because he's like focusing on it, and he's like, oh, what do you think? And he's like, I don't know, or like I have to watch it again, but he it's right after he mentions like that he was displaying, he was a strong person.
yeah,
and it shows him kicking the person across the street and stuff like that. So, I wonder if that's gonna be that's gonna be how they interact with each other. Is Falcon's gonna be on a little on edge, wondering what he's doing?
Yep.
possibly.
But I guess that's it. I mean, it's hard to do it with a TV show, but I just want to throw it out there just to reflect on it later. But if you were to rate this 1 out of 10, what would you, just the episode on its own and what you think it might lead up to? How would you guys feel? For me, I'm thinking like an 8.
Yeah, I go that high. I'd say 8.
I'd
Eight's
give it.
good.
I'd give it a 7, 7.5. Yeah, like 7.5, 8, anywhere between 7 and 8 is where I would place it. Like I said, there are some things that, like some little gripes here and there, that I wish were touched up upon. Like I really wish that Bucky and Sam had some sort of interaction.
I mean, we got 10 episodes.
I
mean,
I know we have, and that's fine. I'm totally okay with that. But like the show is called Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's already like a whole episode has gone, and they still haven't like interacted with each other. Like not even like a text or like a call or anything. So it's kind of like it's not terrible. It doesn't ruin the show, but it's just one of those things that I would have liked to have happen at least like at the end of the episode, right? Like just something small to lead us into like the next episode. Because the thing is now that a whole episode has gone by with them not interacting with each other, there needs to be a whole episode. There's going to be more time that's going to have to lead up into the buildup of them like finally like working with each other, right? Like, so I don't know how long that's going to last. I don't hate the fact that they have like 2 separate storylines going on for them to like explain what's going on between the two. I think that's fine. I just wish that there was more interaction between the two. And again, that whole like beginning action scene was just a little bit too wild. It wasn't bad, but it was a little bit too over the top in my opinion.
I think it's fun. They need to hype up Winter Soldier. They need to hype us. Like I think they're worried that, oh my god, like, yo, like, okay, Sebastian Stan, hot, okay, and Anthony Mackie is a cool, like, everyone loves him as Falcon, but we don't got nobody in this show that's really gonna sell it, so we gotta start off with a bang, show off that Falcon can do shit. Because to me, like, he does shit, but like I feel like he's like a Walmart version of War Machine. You know, like what he does is like what War Machine does, but less. So they gotta hype him up in the show. So I didn't mind it too much, but I understand what.
Yeah. But I mean, I still give it a solid 7, 7.5. I mean, it's still.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna bring mine down from an 8 to a 7 because I want to leave myself room for like episode, because while this one was a great lead up and it left me feeling very interested to see what's coming in the future. I mean, an 8 is pretty high for something that's it's just a pilot episode setting stuff up. So I think 7 is good for me too. I'm really interested to see how they're going to weave in them meeting. Like I said, they might go that angle. That's what I'm thinking they're gonna do. They're probably gonna go that angle where Falcon's gonna be on edge and trying to find out where Bucky is, and then they're gonna have a little that's gonna set the mood of their bickering and their unease with each other, and like the like married couple vibes that they give off.
Yeah.
I think that's what's gonna set it off, is that Falcon's gonna come in with bad vibes, saying like, "Oh, are you doing stuff?" Like, you know, putting things in his head like that he's already heard from everybody else in the world, that, "Oh, you were the Winter Soldier, you're a killer." So that might, you know, set the tone of their distaste for each other. But that's what I'm most worried about, is I hope they don't overdo the corny, you know, like, you know, I hope they do Rush Hour but they do it right. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Because the first Rush Hour was very like they didn't like each other. They ignored each other a lot of the time. Jackie Chan went to go do his own thing. So I'm hoping they pull off like a Rush Hour, but more modern. You know, in a modern way that makes it feel, you know, enjoyable. I guess.
Yeah.
But all right, that's it. So it was a 7 for me, 7 for Goss. You said 7.5 and Brawley.
I'll say 7.5.
7.5. Okay. So yeah, that's our ratings. We'll definitely do this again next week, same time. It's super late get together sort of discussion, but I will be highlighting and uploading these to YouTube just so we can just have them there and just reflect on them later whenever we want to go over our total scores at the end. But yeah, lots to come for this show, and I'm just like we've already mentioned plenty of times. I'm definitely excited to see how well they can accomplish these C-tier like heroes and make them worthwhile watching compared to Wanda being able to rip fucking realities apart and shit.
Yep.
And the new Captain America looks like shit.
Well, he like in the show when he comes out, he's that suit that he's wearing. That's the U.S. agent suit.
No. I'm talking about fucking Grandpa Up being fucking Captain America.
You're talking about the actual guy. Oh yeah. He looks like trash.
But all right, for those in this stream, thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you, Golden. I'll catch you guys.